Okay. So I want to start out by giving a shout out to my friend and coworker, the one who suggested I do this vlog. It's his birthday, so happy birthday. And Shub Janam Din, which I'm sure I slaughtered, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's probably not even the right language or dialect or whatever, but I'm trying. Anyway, so I wanted to also say that I will be doing some movie reviews coming up. My friend specifically asked that I do some movie reviews of some Indian movies that he suggested I watch. So the first one I'm going to do is for the movie Queen. The movie is, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Now the thing to know, if you don't speak the Hindi language, then you're going to have to, sometimes when I'm watching movies, I, kind of am watching them while I'm doing other things. When you're reading subtitles, you have to kind of just really watch the movie, which kind of makes you focus on it, which is good. I think that's great. But so I did suddenly realize, oh wait, I can't go over here and put some dishes away because I can hear the action. No, I can't understand what they're saying. So I had to focus. So the storyline of this movie is about a young girl who is getting married. She's, a very sweet young girl. She's kind of just done everything she was supposed to do, and I would call her maybe shy, maybe a little conservative, maybe just sheltered more than anything. But she's getting married, and we kind of see a little bit of the pursuit that was done by the man she's marrying, the young man that she's marrying, and the excitement of the wedding that's going to happen, and some of the ceremony that happens ahead of time. And then he calls her up, and they meet at a coffee shop or something, and he calls off the wedding. He says they can't get married. And so, of course, this just is devastating to her as she's in the middle of this joyous process of getting married, and then she finds that she's no longer getting married, and and she has to, and it really really tears her apart. She goes and she spends some time alone in her room, and but then she realizes that she actually still has her reservations for her honeymoon, so she decides she's just going to go ahead and go. So she decides, as this young single girl, she's going to go travel to Europe. So she goes to Europe, and of course, exactly what you would think would happen, it happens. She's very naive. She starts to get mugged, and somehow manages to fight back and yell loud enough that she's okay, and then she makes a friend, and the friend that she makes is a young woman who works at the hotel where she's staying, and the young woman is a single mother, which is quite startling, and kind of takes our young heroine a little bit out of her comfort zone, to know that there's people that live that way. But it turns out that she's this friend of hers, so it kind of challenges what she thinks about this world that she's been told was not good. This is a good person. This is a single mom, but she's a good person. And she's, kind, and she's a friend, and she helps her, and so it kind of, startles her, but it helps her kind of grow in her view of the world. And so then she moves on, this friend that she meets helps her move on to the next location in Europe, and she goes to stay at a hostel. And of course, watching the movie, I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. And so she goes into the hostel, and she goes to her room, and she finds that there are 3 young men who are staying there, 20 20-something-year-olds that are there as well. And you know, it goes through this kind of the learning process that she goes through as she kind of, you know, starts to see that this isn't necessarily, you know, a bad thing to be staying with these 3 young men, and that these 3 young men are good men and are her friends. And she goes and she kind of finds some real independence and finds some worth in her, you know, in what she loves to do, which is cooking, and you know, her abilities and her talents in that. And then all this while, so the first person that her first friend, the single mom, has the same name as the guy that she's supposed to marry. So at some point she mixes up their phone numbers and in her cell phone, and she texts the wrong one. She texts the ex-fiance, right, son. And so then he realizes, I think it was like a picture of her in this really nice outfit, you know, that's a little bit not as quite as conservative as, you know, what he's used to her wearing. So then he decides that he's going to try to find her. What is she doing? And, you know, she's, you know, I don't know if it's because all of a sudden he realizes that she's worth more than he thought, or if it's because he thinks she's gone off her rocker. I wasn't always quite sure what was going on there. And then, you know, so he's trying to track her down, and she's not allowing him to find her. And anyway, so you know, it's really kind of a movie about this young woman who's really finding herself and finding her self-worth and finding, you know, what her independence, and that she doesn't need to be married, and she can have this, you know, she can live a life, and, you know, and still do what what's expected of her, and what's, you know, the right thing to do. But, you know, she's just got a whole different mindset in how that happens. And I really enjoyed it. The characters are really funny, especially the 3 young men that she stays with in the hostel. They're hilarious. And you know, it's just like, it's a movie that will make you feel good. You know, it's a great movie for young women to see, to you know, feel like, you know, they can be worth something. You know, they don't have to find their worth in who they're marrying, and in the idea that they're married, and so it's just, you know, it's a good movie, and it's a lot of fun, and it's funny, and it's heartwarming, and, you know, it's not something you're gonna want to watch with kids. Of course, like I said, subtitles, the kids would have to be able to read fast, but it's a good movie, and I would encourage anybody, you know, in their 20s and 30s, you know, especially women, just, you know, it's fun. It's a good watch, so you should definitely check it out. Queen. I found it on Amazon streaming. Thanks.